Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESL Server tutorial. In this episode we're going to look at every single setting that the ESL Server application offers you, and we'll talk about a bit of the details of each of those settings. So we open up the ESL Server application and we open up the very last tab at the top right called Settings. Now at the left you'll see all of the fields or subjects that we can change. So let's start with authentication. This one is pretty awesome. Basically what you can do is you can add users and allow certain actions to be performed by that user. So let's say we're going to add a new user called, or he needs to be an administrator because the very first user needs to be an admin, because then you have a fallback for when things go wrong. Let's give him the very secure password admin. Retype it, and then press apply at the bottom left. Oh, username may not be empty. I need to call him admin. There we go. The user admin has been successfully created. And now it immediately asks us, well, you tried to apply new settings. You need to be an admin to do that. So let's type in that we're admin, obviously. You can also add new users. For instance, a new user called linker, which is someone in the store who is allowed to link ESLs and alter those links, but he's not allowed to alter the database, nor the base stations, nor the settings that we are now walking through, nor the templates that are being used to render images to the ESLs. You can see that in our templates tutorial. Let's give linker a password as well. Very easy. Let's call him linker. Let's apply that. Well, as admin we need to say I'm admin and I want to change that. That user was successfully created. You can also delete them. And I can say I, as admin, I am allowed to edit users. Goodbye user linker. And now only user admin is still here. Then we can go to the logging options. Very easy. As I said in the advanced database tutorial, the database can also be used as a logging tool to find out what went wrong with your system and at what particular time. If you started authentication as well, there's also a user connected to that action so that you can know who broke your system. It's easy to point fingers that way. So we have a MySQL database. We're going to use that for our logging as well. By default, log exceptions is turned on. Exceptions are when things go completely wrong. You can also turn on log events. And it also gives us a warning. Enabling event logging will decrease performance. Are you sure you wish to continue? Logging events means that every single event that happens that changes the system, whether it be something as simple as linking or processing a new product being added to the database, can also all be stored. You might want to turn on log events when there is something weird going on and you don't really understand why. If you log the events, you can see exactly what happens after the point in time that you perform the action that had unforeseen results. That way you can debug it, or if you're still wondering what the heck is happening, you can contact support. Like always, there is a link in the description to our support channels, and oftentimes we will ask you to turn on your log events, perform the action that you did, and that way we know probably what went wrong. So we're going to say no, we don't want to turn on event logging. The maximum amount of log records is there to make sure that your database doesn't grow out of hand. By default, it stores 100,000 records, which in my experience is enough for about 1 year of archiving. Then we can go to the next option, which is language. Pretty straightforward. You can select from a drop-down menu this moment in time you can choose for English, French, Italian, Dutch and Portuguese. If you want to help us translate ESL Server into your language, we would be more than happy to help you. We have a piece of software that makes it pretty easy to translate it. It will show the standard English text at the left, and it will ask you for a new translation on the right. Thing is, there are several hundred lines of text that need to be translated in that case. So if there is enough demand for a new language, be sure to tell us that you want that language supported, and we can also hire a translator to help translate the program for you. So right at the moment I'm going to stay to English. The next one is the web service or REST API. You can enable the web service, and then your ESL server will listen to API commands over port 8791 or whatever port you have registered on your system. During installation, in the episode about installing ESL Server, I said that I did want the REST API and web service to be installed. So if I press the test button, it already registered this port. And what we should see is a simple XML answer from the server. So ESL Server is saying over port 8791 in the XML format, "Hi, the ESL web service is online on this port," and a couple of information lines about the server status. You can also change it to JSON styling. The commands that you can send to the REST API are all mentioned in the manual. If you want to read the manual, it is both part of the zip file when you download the ESL server, and after installation, which by default is at C drive/opticon/ESL server, you can open the manual folder, and there is a PDF. And in one of the latest addenda, I need to scroll a bit down, there is a lot of information here using the SQL API and the REST API commands that are available to you. So that is the REST API. Running as a service. This is a feature that most of our clients like to use. When you run ESL Server as a service, we register it to always run on the system. If a user accidentally shuts it down or makes it crash, the service will automatically restart. If there is an update to your computer or there was a power outage and the computer needs to reboot, it will automatically start up ESL Server as the PC starts up. It's quite easy. You enable it. You tell it how long to wait after a shutdown has happened. So in this case, after 15 seconds, ESL Server will boot up again. You can use a certain account. So for instance, if your user is called user, you can say, I'm going to attach it to the account called user, and the user's password, Windows password, needs to filled in. And as soon as that user is logged in to the system, the ESL Server will automatically boot. Then we have the window options, 3 very easy ones. You can minimize to tray. If I apply that setting now, then ESL Server is no longer here, but it is in the tray. So we can open it up again. Instead of minimizing the tray, we can also say close the tray, so that when we press the close button, the software doesn't actually close, it only minimizes to the tray. So let's apply that setting and try it out. Let's cross it out. It's no longer in the taskbar, but it is still available in the tray. That way the ESL server application is still running in the background and you prevent accidental shutdowns. You can also say that you also already wanted to start as a tray icon and not appear in the taskbar at startup as well. So those are the Windows options. Then we go to the event handler. The event handler is quite a powerful feature. Basically, the event handler can react to an event and then perform an action. So first we say that we want to enable it by clicking on the check mark. And we, for instance, can say a scheduled event based on time and every day at midnight, or if we click this every single minute, a action will be performed, like a SQL command or a script somewhere on the hard drive or an app. And we can also tell that certain parameters need to happen. Say, for instance, that you have a SQL command that automatically removes certain items from your database and adds new ones. For instance, the best buy date for all of the milk in the store. This way you can write a SQL query that says, okay, every item in a certain group, update your best buy date, and the next morning all of the labels will have already updated to the latest best buy date. There are more options: application, base station, a certain action that happens to the ESL, or NFC, which is going to be handled in the powered ESL range video. I would refer you to the manual, since this is a very expansive topic and it is very specific to your users' needs. If you need any help with that, or if the manual isn't enough to help you out, feel free to contact us. Contact information is in the description. The next one is the Handheld Terminal. In the video with the ESL basics, we linked ESLs with the help of the web app running on a wireless handheld terminal, but you can also connect a terminal to your PC with the help of a USB or COM RS232 cable if you're really old school. You can update the firmware from here, and you can use that scanner, for instance, to help with the linking, but instead of using the web app, you can use the ESL server itself. After that, we have the import and export buttons. When you import, you can import a certain settings file, which allows you to easily transfer certain settings that you had saved on a certain system and export them to another one, which is what the export button does. The export button takes all of the settings that you had stored, exports them to a file, and then you can use that file on a new PC. For instance, when an ESL server breaks down, if you've got an export copy, you can import it in the new one. And the last one in the list of settings is called Information. The name says it all. It says the version of the application. We are running ESL Server 1.72.4. The DLL or library that it is leaning on is 1.55.3, and a small copyright notice. And those are all of the settings of the ESL server application. If you need some more information about any of these settings, please feel free to contact us. As I said, the contact information is in the description. I'd like to thank you for watching this tutorial. Stick around for other tutorials, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.